Hey, how you doing? I'm going to walk you through today how to do a reading log. Some of the more sharp on the ball active students are starting to get concerned about the students' rights paper, and they're confused, and it makes sense because it is a confusing paper. My best analogy is like for baseball. I mean, if you haven't played, imagine you played it. You're leveling up. It's like moving. Your brain is like a muscle, and the condition your brain's in has been fine for high school or whatever you've been doing, but you've just leveled up into college, and when you go from Comp 1 to Comp 2, you level up again. It's like when I went from Pony League baseball to Legion baseball. Suddenly the balls came faster. I saw breaking stuff. Well, imagine going from high school baseball to college, and suddenly you see for the first time you were doing well, hitting them out of the park in high school, but nobody could really throw over like 70 miles an hour. That was a fast pitcher. You get to college, you're going to see 90, 95 mile an hour stuff once in a while. Not everybody. You're also going to see stuff that breaks half a foot over the plate. You're going to be jumping out of the batter's box. You got to get used to it. You get in there and you take batting practice. You start early, and that's how you end up doing well. You get in early, you start early, and you put in the practice hours. Reading is what you got to do in my class. You got to get in and do the reading. I figured you'd understand that better. I actually wrestled, and I was, a monster in high school, and then I got to college, and everybody was a monster in college. I had to level up. It's the same in writing and in thinking. You're leveling up. So this paper is, the SRTOL is a challenging paper. It's meant to be, but you can do it, and you're going to do the best you can, and I guarantee that, a couple of you are going to get A's. I'd love for more of you too, but that would mean you'd have to do all the homework. Now if you go to table of contents, I showed you that before, course documents, reading journal example. Alright, you've already looked at that. The reading log. You can't understand the student's rights paper without having done the reading. I've given it to you in email from the first day before it started. I gave you lots of links. This isn't a cut paint by numbers, step 1, step 2, everyone's writing the same paper assignment. You have to find out what kind of paper you're going to write. And before you really even make that decision, you need to understand what the student's rights is about. And what, if your teachers really believed what they said, what it means to you. Because this is it is meant to be revolutionary, actually. Literally, it came out of the 60s. Stokely Carmichael. Heard of him? I think he blew up some people. Black Power. Yeah. There literally was a revolution in the 60s, late 60s in the United States about civil rights. And this came out of that whole. But, alright, how to do a reading log. Open the fish article. And I always open a new tab, but today I'm going to have you open in a new window. And then if you have the newest, whatever, Windows version, you can slide that over there. You also need to open up a link to Google. Alright, now I had my buddy William James log in to his Google for me so that I could show you how to do this step by step. Now, this is what a heading looks like in MLA format. You're going to want to make a copy of this. Make a copy. Now, copy is going to show up in Billy's Gmail account in his Google Docs. And today is 6/5/14. It's not a bad idea to date things, even though the computer will save the date you finished it. If you have multiple versions, if you're dealing with drafts, it's not a bad idea to put the date of your draft in the document title so that you know what you're working with. So you save it, and I swear to God, if I see somebody turn in an assignment that says your name on the top, I'm going to take away a letter grade because it's in the syllabus. To keep things less confusing, Billy, would you come over here and type your name? Alright, thank you. And then the date, which is coincidentally in, and I don't care, but I just put periods there. I don't care. I think you should probably, I think most advice is 5 June 14 is really the way you really want to do it to be official. But as long as you're consistent, I don't care too much. All right, this is now in Billy's Google Docs. It's not in Professor Dixon's Google Docs. That's important because I don't know if I allowed people to actually edit mine, but it's possible in theory that someone could go in and do their reading log, and then that would be a mess. You can create this yourself in Google Docs by just creating a new document, and then you can insert a table, you know, something like that. I want at least 5 quotations in any reading log you do in my class, at least 5. Show me you're paying attention. Now what you want to do now, you have these open next to each other. The left-hand side is for quotes. The right-hand side is for your response, not summary. Do not summarize. So you read this, and you find something that speaks to you. All right? I'm going to copy this. Now, I think you should put quotation marks around it, because if you may want to end up, you don't know right now. Writing is a process, and I can't tell you how to write a paper without making any wasted effort. And it's not wasted, but everything you write doesn't go in your final draft. All right? You're going to write paragraphs you take out of your paper. That's life. That's part of the process. If that bothers you, don't be so lazy. You don't practice for 20 minutes a day because that's all you play in a basketball game. All right? We only play 20 minutes. Why should we have practice for more than 20 minutes? No, you have practice every day of the week before the game, and the practice is like 3 hours. The game itself will be like an hour. 2 20-minute, and then that thing in the middle. So don't expect necessarily to use every quote, but the goal is you may choose to use one of these quotes in your final paper. I don't know which one. I don't know what you're going to say. You haven't written it yet. This is the doing the reading part. We used to do this back before computers with index cards. You'd put quotes on an index card, and then on the back you'd write why you thought it was good. You wouldn't paraphrase it, because I assume you can read, and I certainly read well. So don't paraphrase. Now I picked this one because, yeah, I have issues with nuns. I don't care too much about your punctuation or spelling in this assignment. In formal essays, absolutely. But if you want to like blow off the capitalization and like not worry so much about spelling in a reading log, in your responses, reactions, maybe I should do that. Label it for you. You don't have to do that, as long as you make sure you have the quote, reaction. Quote on the left, reaction on the right. I want your reactions to be longer than the quote itself. In fact, ramble. You know, I don't care. It wouldn't be bad to have 250 words, because this is where you get ideas. You know, you're bouncing ideas off yourself here. I never can spell weird right. I'm going to correct that because I don't want people to know how poorly I spell, because I'm a college professor in English. All right, I went ahead and fleshed out my reaction. This is, to be honest, a rather short reaction. The longer reactions are better. It gives you ideas. It's stuff to come up with. And as I started writing this first quote, it reminded me of something I just read the other day. I heard stories about this all my life. I grew up Catholic. But I just read something the other day about this orphanage, this monastery, convent, whatever, in Ireland, that had a septic tank full of over 800 human child remains, mostly babies. It involved, what they do is there's no abortion in Ireland, and the Catholic Church would take these babies, this one convent, adopt them out, but the ones that weren't adoptable, they just locked in a room, let them starve to death, or chucked them into the cistern. But if I'm going to mention that, I should find it. So you open the link, mass unmarked grave cistern. If I make this bigger, dead remains. Okay, I look it up, I find it, boom, it's the top one. The Guardian, by the way, is a great source. And then I click on it, I open it up, get the link, Control-C. That's how you copy it. You could do that right-click copy thing, but Control-C is quicker, and that's what the cool people do. Go back to your thing here. An article I just read. Let's cite that source. In digital writing, online, in blogs and such, you insert a link. This is an effective form of citing sources. Make the link active. And that way, if you mention an article, share the damn article. Find it for me. All right? I will do the same for you. I am doing the same for you. But if you mention this awesome article, but you don't tell me the author's name, I don't know where to find it, you probably got it on in your search history, or you couldn't find it. You know the words you remember from hearing it. Share the links. Remember, if you're not sharing links, if you're not giving credit for sources, you're ruining the internet. And giving credit to sources is the fundamental goal of Comp 2. Now, I did the next one. Didn't have to go very far to find something about the question of reading and learning to write. And yes, I will mention this because I hear this a lot. People, they don't know how to write the students' rights paper, but they don't read anything. Reading is the best way to build a vocabulary, become informed. Read that. That reminds me of something. I'm going to look for it. Reminds me of a meme. Will it fit? Will it work? It's not working. I've tried nothing, and we're out of ideas. That's how I feel when people don't read, and then they tell me they don't have to write a paper. Read. Read, 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 read. Read everything you can. I have given you blogs, links. Have you read every blog tagged with students' rights to their language? All right? Nothing's going to tell you how to do it step by step, cookie cutter, paste one by one. No. You have to become more informed. And then you have to tell me what you think. And no two people are going to think the same thing. No two people are going to have the same experiences. I have people who relate the students' rights paper to Black English vernacular, people who lived in the projects in the past, and they tell me, oh, I don't know anything about Black English vernacular, I just talk the way I talk. That is a legitimate form of English, and it's as grammatically sophisticated, in some ways more sophisticated than mainstream U.S. English. What most people speak in Johnson County, what most of your teachers, all of your teachers really probably here at JCCC, what they speak is mainstream U.S. English. Some people call it standard academic English, which actually, according to the course catalog, I have to speak, and I quote, standard academic English in Comp 1, but not in Comp 2. And at KU, you are in theory allowed to use Black English vernacular. My grandmother spoke a Southern English, a dialect, a rural dialect. She would say things like "we was," and most English teachers that's wrong. But if she says it the same way every time, it's not wrong. It's a dialect. There are dialects of Kentucky. You ever watch Justified? They speak a Kentucky dialect down there. There are all kinds of. There is no wrong grammar. If there's a community that speaks the same language, it's a type of language. That's what the students' rights statement says. You need to read up on it. It's really fascinating, but you need to do the reading.